Hello, my name is Rahul Khanna. I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and this recording is a part two of compiling the images and videos for a playlist that will be used with the KH Audio software. I'm at the Kingdom Hall, and that is used by the Chatham and King George congregations. So today is a continuation of a previous recording, which I recorded at my home office. There, I downloaded images and videos, or even had to produce images or multiple images into one image file, and gathered it, created a text document noting the file name for which week. For example, which images and videos would be used for the Christian Life and Ministry meeting during the weekday, which also includes the Congregation Bible Study, or images that are being used for the Watchtower Study. So I'm at the Kingdom Hall with the images and videos, which I'm also going to be copying over. I'll have that as part of this recording. And I will be typing out the file names or making adjustments in the playlist. So again, this is part two of putting that playlist together, and I will do it for both one Christian Life and Ministry meeting as well as one Watchtower study. And you can follow the same pattern as you would like for your playlist usage. So here I am on my USB drive, and I'll navigate to the folder where all the media content is. And for this particular Kingdom Hall, I'll move the photo booth recording of my face over. On the desktop, I've created shortcuts where the image and media files can reside. So I'll open up a Christian Life and Ministry one, and you'll notice on the USB drive I have a Christian Life and Ministry meeting. Now, this is all for January 2017, which basically kicks off next week. Since this past midweek meeting ends on Sunday, January 1st. So I'll go ahead and create a folder and label it as year 2016. And I will move all of these folders into that one. And sooner or later, these things can be deleted if they're no longer used. I'll create a folder called 2017. So if you were to continue using this system into 2018, you would just do likewise. And I'll go into the 2017 folder, and from my USB drive, you'll see me copy January 2017 over. Now, you'll notice the file or the name of the folder, it starts with a 01. That just corresponds to the month. You know that J is not the first letter in the alphabet. So I typically label them with a number, so they just show up in the order. January being the first month of the year, of a calendar year. I'll go ahead and open up another folder so they can continue copying over. Actually, I'll just navigate to it. This time I'll go to the Watchtower study, and I'll go back on the USB drive, and I'll go to the Watchtower study edition, and I will go into year 2016. The reason why is because the Watchtower magazine that we're going over in January will actually be the November 2016 Watchtower study edition. So I see I've got a November one here, and I just want to confirm if I copied everything over. So it looks good, and it looks like I have. Great. So that I brought these over before. And now I'm going to go to the Congregation Bible Study folder, which is God's Kingdom Rules book. And on this other window, I'll go back to my USB drive and look for the corresponding images and videos. And in this case, it's section 2, and it happens to be chapter 7. So now open up chapter 6 just to make sure there are only 2 images, and I will pull over chapter 7. So essentially, that's how I've transferred images and videos that I've gathered together according to the previous recording video, and I've transferred them physically using a USB drive. Now we're doing that here because we don't have suitable high-speed internet bandwidth. If you did, you can do all of that at the Kingdom Hall if you'd like. All right, so I'll go ahead and close this folder out because I'm done with the USB drive, and just grab my USB drive so I don't forget it. All right, now you'll see me continuing with the KH Audio playlist creation. A couple things to note here. I'm going to keep this folder open. I'll leave it in the middle so we can see it. But I will also open up KH Audio playlist folder. That's a folder right on the desktop. It is not a shortcut. And here what I've done is I have them based on the year. That's the year the meeting takes place. So you can see that for year 2016, under 12 December 2016, we have the December Christian Life and Ministry. We have the October Watchtower Study Edition. Now, I happen to use proper English in a sense, meaning capital letter to start the month or start the word. I tend to use what's called camel casing because we know these things as that. So, for example, we've got December Christian Life and Ministry. Oh. I renamed it. December Christian Life and Ministry. I was actually trying to copy the file name. In the year 2017, under the month, let's do the same. Let's call it 01 January with capital J. And then under here, I'll create a folder and label it January Christian Life and Ministry. In this case, it happened to put it up there, so I'll drag it into January. I'm going to go ahead and rename the November Watchtower to be consistent. November Watchtower Study Edition. Again, we have many brothers who operate this, so this should be easy to find. I'm going to go ahead and close 2016 and bring the focus to 2017. Okay. You can see we have a couple playlists here. I'll go ahead and take this one. I want to use the name. And in this case, it happens to be December 26th through January 1st. And then January 16 through 22. I already have the playlist created. So I will create one more Watchtower Study Edition playlist, and then I will create a Christian Life and Ministry playlist. So let's do the Watchtower Study Edition first. It's a little easier and quicker to put together, and it focuses on images. So what you'll see me do is I will open up KH Audio using this icon here at the bottom on the dock, the task bar basically. It's called a dock in the Mac. Alternately, you can double click the playlist and it'll open everything up for you. And I'll show you that at the end. For now, I'll open the KH Audio application, and you'll notice that I have a problem because I have not turned on the audio portion. It won't matter for this to create the playlist, but just so you can see that it does operate fully, I will go ahead and quit the application. Quitting closes the application out completely, and you can do that by pressing the Command and the Q button on the keyboard. I've actually turned on the rest of the audio. So now I will reopen KH Audio and you can see there's no complaints. Okay. So in any case, whether you have your audio portion on or it's always on, you can still create your playlist. So here I'm going to create the playlist by first going up to the File menu option or menu command on the title bar. So all Macs have a title bar all the way at the top. And if the application that's on focus will have certain menu options. For example, if I tap inside this Finder window and bring it to focus, my menus change at the top. You can see the application is called Finder. Okay. If I tap inside of KH Audio, you can see I'm now at KH Audio and my menus change. So I have a File menu. So under File, I will tap the New. Alternately, I can press the Command and the N key for New. Now, when you open a playlist, whether you open a playlist or create a new one, two things happen. The playlist open, and so does the video media player. We're not really needing the video media player at the moment. You could leave it there, or you can move it to the side, whatever you want. For this one, I'm going to move it over slightly. So that way I can start dragging and dropping things into it. And so I'll try to, you don't need to really follow my face. So I'll just cover some of that photo booth video there. But then in the meantime, I'll have this and I'll move it up a little bit. Now I'm going to leave this view for the KH Audio so you can see as I save them how they are showing up. So we're going to do a Watchtower, and you'll notice that I've got a week missing. In fact, I probably have 2 weeks missing. And I'm going to open up, using my iPhone, the actual KH Audio playlist notes that I took. So in the previous video, I used the notes on the Mac, but I'm using notes on Mac synchronized on iCloud, so I can at least access it from another device. When it comes to Christian Watchtower, you'll notice that I've got Watchtower December 26th through January 1st. Okay. And I also have Watchtower 16th through 22nd. So that means I'm actually missing 2 weeks. I'm missing January 2nd through 8th. So in this recording, I will go ahead and produce January 2nd through 8th. All right. So in my Finder, I'm going to navigate back to the Watchtower Study Edition images. Here, I'm going to go to the November 2016 Watchtower Study Edition. And then, before I go anywhere else, there's a few things that I'm going to do. I'm going to move this file over for a few seconds. And you'll notice what I'll do. I'm going to drag the 2017 year text over. The reason why we're doing that, and you can ignore what I'm doing here, I'm just deleting the 2016 year text out of the way, is that we are not using the year text option in KH Audio. We have this unchecked. And that means that it will not display automatically on the screen all the time. Okay. Now if that changes, that can be up to the congregation, audio video overseers or whoever is in charge with this responsibility to decide. Between our two congregations shared at this Kingdom Hall, it was decided to leave it unchecked so we can black out the screen for most of the meeting. So we display the year text at the beginning and we'll display it at the end. So we will include it in our playlists. The next thing is, because this is the Watchtower Study Edition, or for the Watchtower Study meeting, we'll bring over the image of the cover. And you'll notice, because I did that, in the media player, it'll just show whatever I'm dragging in. This is just so you have an idea of what that image looks like a little bit bigger. Okay, so the year text was brought over. That'll be the first thing we show. The second thing we're going to show when the Watchtower study. In fact, while I'm doing this, while I'm talking, I'll go ahead and type the comment. So this will be displayed at the start of the meeting, even before the public talk that happens on the weekend meeting. Some congregations meet on Saturdays. Some congregations meet on Sundays. Whatever day you meet for the public talk and the Watchtower study, the year text in this case would be displayed before the public talk starts. So as people are coming in, taking their seats, we're showing the year text. Now we will black that out and then show the next image at start of the Watchtower study. And in this case, we'll just abbreviate with WT for Watchtower. So far with me? Next, what I'll do, because I'm done with the global images, I'm going to actually pick the folder for January 2nd through 8th, and I'm going to hit the Enter key, which will let me rename the folder. But I'm not renaming the folder. I'm going to press Command plus C to copy the name. I just want to not type January 2nd through 8th. And then I'll press the Enter key again to get out of editing mode. I'll come back to the playlist and I'll save it. You can save it by going to File, Save, or you can notice a shortcut, which is the Command key and the S key. Whichever one you want, it'll open up a save window. In this window, I'm going to tap on, I'm not going to click anything here. I'm going to go to the left and I'll start navigating like I would to get to the images. I'll go to Watchtower Study Edition in the shortcuts, the year 2016, because again, it's Watchtower, the magazine, and I'll go to the 11th November 2016, and I'm sorry, scratch that. Because I'm saving a playlist, I need to go to KH Playlists, the year of our meeting. The meeting is 2017, 01 January. Here I'll go to Watchtower, November Watchtower Study Edition folder. And then what I will do is double click on Untitled, type in WT space, and then I'll press Command and the V button, V for Victor, I guess, which will paste what I've copied. Alternately, I could type that out, right? Whichever one you want, whichever's easier. Once I'm done naming the playlist, I will hit the Save button. And you'll notice in my playlist folder that the playlist I'm working on has just been saved. And you can see the date modified is today at 4:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? So again, when I save the playlist, I'm actually saving it under KHA Playlists, not where the images are. So please disregard my moment of confusion. So continuing with the playlist, now that I've saved a copy using the name, I'm going to go into the actual week and grab those images. Now I will grab paragraph 10, page 11, opening image, and I will drag it into the slot or into the playlist. That's the next image we want to show. You're noticing a couple things here. One is I've got this top section which shows me item number 1, 2, 3 in the order that they're available in. But at the bottom, you'll also see these images. My recommendation is just ignore these down here. Why? Because if I delete this image from the top, you'll notice that the image is still at the bottom. Now this is just a bank. It's where the images are. It's up here that they show you the order that they are to be presented in. And you can move it around. I can move it up or I can move it down. Pressing the Command key plus the S key to save will let me save my changes before I go on. Now you notice that as I talked in the previous image or video, that we're labeling them with some instruction. So the file name has paragraph 10, that's the paragraph it should be displayed on, and the reference of page 11. And what is it? It's the opening image. Okay, so we named the files, and we also took note of the names, and I will actually be checking my notes to make sure I didn't miss something. Okay. For the Watchtower playlists or Watchtower study playlists, it's relatively easy. The images are actually brought out by the magazine article. It's when we go to the Christian Life and Ministry meeting, they become a little bit, you'll follow your notes a bit more, okay? Now, I'm going to copy both of these together so I can show you the ability, okay? You can actually copy all the images over at the same time if you want into a playlist, okay? So in this case, I'm going to copy both. And I drag and drop. Now you notice in my bank, I don't have 5 images. I have 4 down here, which is another reason to just ignore it, okay? Also notice one more thing. Paragraph 17, page 13, Elders Giving Spiritual Help, that file name is the same. There's no problem with that. You notice though, the bottom image, the very last image, item number 5, it is not called Review Q number 2-3. Why? Well, it turns out that in this application called KH Audio, if the image that's being copied over is already detected to have been copied over, regardless of the file name, it will use the original file name. In my opinion, that's a bug, but whatever the brothers are deciding, we will work with it, okay? So in this case, because we want to re-show, we want to redisplay the opening image for review questions 2 and 3, what we'll do is we will copy the file name and we'll make that into the comment. Now you notice because of the size that the playlist window opens that not the entire file name shows. So that's why we tend to put whatever we're wanting to show it for up front. For example, we want the opening image that normally would be shown for paragraph 10. We want it to be shown for review question number 2 through number 3. So as long as that's visible, we don't have to resize the window. Okay? Now, once we're done with going over review questions and the meeting is coming to a close, we'll want to go back and display the year text. Okay? The reason why we're doing this for the congregations at this Kingdom Hall is because we tend to leave the audio-video system up and available for the brother to announce that we're meeting for field service. Typically, that's 15 minutes after the Watchtower study meeting has concluded. Okay, so if the meeting concludes at, let's say at 11:45 in the morning, then by noon, the field service group would meet. And so we leave the mic hot and the system playing background music. And that's why we want to show the display text or display the year text for that duration. Okay. And I will go ahead and make one more comment at the playlist. We will display this at end of meeting. And I'll save it. So that is how we create a Watchtower study playlist for KH Audio. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this window out. The system is still on. You'll notice that it's still wanting to display or it's queued up the last thing I dragged and dropped into the playlist. So we'll leave it. And now I will go back to, I'll go and create a new playlist. a blank one. This time I will do it for Christian Life and Ministry. So in this window, I will go ahead and navigate to Christian Life and Ministry. The meeting takes place in the year 2017, and it'll be January 2017, not to be confused with January 1st. It's just the number for the month. Now, similar to what I did for Watchtower, I will grab the year text. We'll display that up front. But this time, because it's Christian Life and Ministry, I'm going to drag the image that is, it's on the front cover of the workbook. We display this, again, just so the friends have a bearing of which publication we're on. Right? It's easy to just sort of look at the workbook and see the opening image. Of course, that's assuming we're using the paper copy. Typically for electronic, you may not have to go to the front if you've prepared. But this is just so it's a visual reminder to the friends of which publication we're using. So again, before I save it, I'm going to comment start of meeting. But this one, we're going to do it after the prayer. This is when the chairman is talking about what we are going to go over today, right? He has 3 minutes of opening comments. So we'll display the cover or the cover image of the workbook while the chairman is going over his opening comments. Now I'm about to save it. And in order to save it, I'm going to do something very similar. I'm going to highlight or select the folder that I'm going to focus on, which is January 2nd through 8th. That's when the midweek meeting is going to happen. I'm going to tap the enter key because I don't want to type the whole January space 2-8. And I'm going to copy. Command plus the C key for copy. Alternately, you can go to edit and do copy. Okay, while you're here. So I guess I should have shown that first. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to go back to the playlist and I'm going to this time do Command plus S. Alternately, you can save it. I'm just using a shortcut. So Command plus S to save. And now it opened up to the last place I saved it. And you'll notice it was Watchtower. I'm going to go back up one, right? So all I did here was tap on this up and down area. January. And then I'm going to navigate to January Christian Life and Ministry. And this time, when I double click on highlight, when I double click untitled, which will highlight the word untitled, I'm going to type in CL and M for Christian Life and Ministry, space, paste. Now I'll show you again. I can paste that by going to edit and paste. And here's the shortcut, Command and the V key. So I pasted it, and that's just to name the playlist. The name of the playlist is Christian Life and Ministry, January 2 through 8. And I'll save it. And now you notice in the window back here, I now have my Christian Life and Ministry, January 2nd through 8th playlist. Okay? Now we're going to continue building out the playlist. So I'll now double click in this window, January 2 through 8th, and I've got my images and my videos. Now I don't remember off the top of my head because I did not name it in the order that it should be. So I'm going to use my iPhone and I'm going to go to my notes. Now remember, you want to be able to access your notes in some way. So if you at home, when you're downloading the images and videos, if you're using your tablet or mobile device, you'll want to have that same tablet or mobile device with you when you are confirming which order your images and videos should show up in. So I'm going to go to Christian Life and Ministry, January 2nd through 8th, and I'm just going to put my iPhone down for a second. So I know I'm going to show my year text first, and then I'm going to show the workbook image. The next thing I'm going to show is image that's on page 2, Jehovah takes care of his people. I'm going to drag that over. That's the next image. And I'm going to go ahead and make a comment here. Excuse me. The comment is treasures from God's Word. Because I want the brother who is operating this to be reminded, or to let him know the instruction, display this at Treasures from God's Word. Now, normally this is a talk. It's a 10-minute talk. But the workbook has this image as a reference point. And so we tend to display this throughout the talk. The brother giving the talk may refer to it. But it lets the friends know, as they prepared the meeting, they may have you looked at that image, or that image brings out some point, some aspect of that treasure. The next image is not an image at all. The next media content are the videos. Sample video number 1, teach the truth and was life created. So we're going to, now before I go on, I'm actually going to check something. I'm going to go back up one level, and I'm going to open up the PDF document. Because I took a note of this, but I want to confirm if that's the order we actually show this in. So I'm going to look at prepare yourself for this month's presentations. I'm going to zoom in. However you zoom in is up to you. You can go to view, zoom out, zoom in. I use the command plus, the plus button, and that helps me zoom in. And you can use the trackpad if you know how to use the trackpad to zoom in and out. So it says here, discussion based on sample presentations, play each presentation video, and then discuss the highlight. During January, publishers have the option to offer the brochure and encourage them to be alert for this opportunity. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go based on the order of the cover. Okay, so here we have the Watchtower on the left, and if we're reading left to right, it'll be Watchtower presentation, teach the truth, and then the brochure, was life created. So I'm just going to drag them over in the order that they are. And here they are. Sample 1, teach the truth, and was life created. Now I'm going to go to the comment and type in, apply yourself to the field ministry. You see how long it took to type that? Well, now I'm going to copy that entire thing. And the way to select everything that I typed is press the Shift key, Command key, and press the left arrow on the keyboard, and that will select everything from that point to the beginning. And then I'm going to Command C to copy. And then I'm going to double click inside the next comment and Command V to paste. Double click the next comment and Command V to paste. Then I will press the Enter key to accept that, and then save. Command plus S. Now I'm using a lot of keyboard shortcuts. And on the Mac, you can do that stuff just like you could on Windows. Okay. If you double tap inside and you double tap the comment again, it'll select it all for you. If you click in, if you double tap the trackpad inside a comment and you see the cursor is blinking and nothing is selected, you can go to edit and you can select all. Under edit, most of the menu commands have a shortcut key or shortcut keys for plural. You could do it that way. Okay, please take your time to get familiar with the iMac. It has very similar functions that Windows would have if you're used to that, or Android on a mobile device. The next things I want to go and show and add to the playlist have to do with living as Christians. So for living as Christians, we will be talking about the Origin of Life brochure. So then that's the last item that I have here. You may notice that at some point We have a TIFF file, TIFF. We have a JPG file, JPEG. These are suitable file extensions, and they're recognized by KH Audio. So I will drag and drop the TIFF. You'll notice that the year text is a JPG file, JPEG. Okay. Again, the last thing I dropped in here is for living as Christians. So living as Christians. And I'll save it. Now you notice that I have pulled in basically 5 items from this folder, and then two additional items in the beginning, making 7. But I'm not done yet, because on my notes I have the Congregation Bible Study. And I have a few more images. In fact, I've got two images. So now on the left window, in the Finder window, I'm going to go to God's Kingdom Rules, or whatever publication is being used if you're still viewing this, or if you're in another nation or in another language and you're using a different book for the Congregation Bible Study, you would go to that respective folder where your images are. And in this case, I'm looking for the God's Kingdom Rule cover. Here we have either one. We have a TIFF file and we have a JPEG. I'm going to take the TIFF file. Actually, I'll take the JPEG. It's smaller. And I'm going to drag and drop the JPEG. And in my bank, you'll see it's there. If I close out this workbook PDF file, you'll see it's in my media player. There's God's Kingdom Rules. Okay? And before I do anything in the comments, I'm going to go ahead and bring the other folder over, or other file, image over. This one is for chapter 6, paragraphs 8 through 10. Okay? So chapter 6 is what we'll be going over this week. Paragraphs 8 through 10. And I'm missing some images. So I have to put my USB drive back in. So I put my USB drive back in and didn't realize that I needed to bring over some extra images for this week. So I'll go back, and I think I have the wrong one. Let me eject this one. So when it comes to USB drives on the Mac, it's typically good to be patient and just wait for that to be ejected fully. That's just to close out the files without causing a problem like corruption, to protect the file on the USB drive. So I've plugged it back in. I'll open up another Finder window, and I'll go back to my no name. And this time I'll go to the location of where I have all the media, and I'll go to God's Kingdom Rules, section 2, and then chapter 6. Oh man, I actually do not have the images. It happens to be Cedar Point Convention. So what I do know, and I'll go ahead and eject this. Oh, I'll leave it here. So I'll just bring this down here so we don't have to look at it. I do know that I prepared this image, and here's a preview of it. I did prepare the image for this past midweek. Because it's the same image, what I will do is I'll go ahead and just copy and paste the image, and I will change some things around. I'll say it's for paragraph 8 through 10. It is chapter 6, and it's the same image, page 63. But this time I'll call it Cedar Point Convention. So that's an oversight on my part. Somewhere along the way I forgot to copy it over or something from home. But now that I made this quick correction, and it's the only other image to show for our reading of God's Kingdom Rules, I'll just go ahead and drag it and drop it right into the playlist. Okay. So that's an impromptu on the fly modification I had to do. Likewise, if you had to download an image or something, maybe download the organizational accomplishments video because it's only available to elders. Things like that. You can make the adjustment as you need and drag and drop it into the playlist. Okay. I will make a comment that this is to be displayed for Bible study. Congregation Bible study is a bit long-winded, so I'll just do Bible study. Same thing here. And then to wrap it up, I'll drag the year text, make a note, end of meeting, and save. Now the midweek meeting, we typically will not leave the system running for too long. But as friends are fellowshipping and socializing a little bit after the prayer, and whatever last minute announcements might be made, we typically will turn on the background music for a few minutes and redisplay the year text for a few minutes. And this way we can end the meeting, and as the friends start making their way out to their homes, you'll shut down. Okay. So that's how I've put together these playlists. Things that I've thought about, things I've kept in mind. You're free to do however you'd like, but it is a tool. The playlist is a convenient tool. It allows us to be a bit consistent in the meetings. Okay? And as I showed you before, I will go ahead and type and make it large, my name and my email address in case you'd like to reach me, and if you have any questions. And I'll just go ahead and it's a little too large. There, you guys can see that. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you for following along. And I hope you do find this useful. And may Jehovah's Holy Spirit help you in your AV duties and tasks. Appreciate it. Thank you.